Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Very Reasonable Pilots podcast. I'm your host, Charles. Along with me, as always, my co-host, editor, producer, co-pilot, gunner, navigator, orator, and podcasting associate, Jacob Gloth. How you doing today, Jacob?
I am swell, Charles. Excited. Another episode of the podcast. We pitch new TV shows every single week. New storylines, new plot points, new characters, worlds, everything that you love and enjoy, all packaged into these beautiful little episodes that we come up with. Pilots and season arcs.
Pilots.
It's fantastic.
I have no season arcs, but I do have a pilot. So this week, my show, titled Disco Volante. That's the name of the show.
Volante.
Disco Volante.
Very excited for this one.
Yeah. So, Disco Volante means flying saucer in Italian. Jake, being a deeply Italian-American man, you know, he loves his gabagool and his mutts and stuff like that. He gave me this title.
Oh, I told you
and
because
he wanted,
I didn't give it because the name. Well, I did give it because of the name. It's the name of what's it called? A car. There's a car made by Alfa Romeo that's called the Disco Volante, and it's a really cool car. And also, it's a James Bond villain yacht.
Yeah. Well, I like the name too. I think it's very fun. I think it's catchy. I think it's interesting. And so I decided that our main character will also be Disco Volante, the universe's greatest dancer, who must travel across a solar system in the grip of a fascistic robotic empire as he brings together a group of like-minded artists, musicians, and dancers. So Disco Volante is the greatest dancer imaginable. He has these cool sunglasses on, like cool black sunglasses, and he takes them down. Both his eyes are disco balls. He's got like kind of a 70s, like cool groovy dude aesthetic, you know. He's got a big afro. He's got a cool jacket. He's kind of long and lanky, and that lets him do all sorts of cool dance moves. All right, that's our main character. I should mention that this is an animated kids show. All right.
Oh, okay.
So this is I would say it's a kids show that's sort of got that same anarchic sense of humor that can be found in like late 90s to mid 2000s Cartoon Network programming, like The Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy, or Courage the Cowardly Dog, or you know, Ren and Stimpy. That's sort of like anarchic sense of humor.
Yeah.
And I was kind of like, I was faced with a dilemma when I first came up with the idea for the show about the universe's greatest dancer, because nobody cares really about watching a cartoon character dance, because it's a cartoon character. There's nothing impressive about a cartoon character dancing. And so my thought process was, what if we made this show using rotoscoped animation? Because we're gonna have some like fantastical characters. I love rotoscoping. We got some like fantastical characters that don't really fit into the dimensions of a normal human being and how they look. And we've also like got lots of cool robots and space and stuff like that. And so it wouldn't be feasible from like a budgetary standpoint to make it live action, because this would have like the budget of like a mid-tier Star Trek. You know, that sort of thing. Because we've got robot characters and we've got alien monsters and things like that. So I figure rotoscoped animation. So we still get to be impressed by this like beautifully choreographed, awesome improvisational dancing, right? But we still get the fun and joy of animation and sort of like that lackadaisical sort of thing, you know? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And yeah. So that's how I'm pitching the show. That's how I want you to imagine it in your head, is that everyone's animated, but they're rotoscoped in. And we're gonna have some really cool dance moves and dance sequences. We're gonna get some great choreographers. And I kind of want dance-offs to replace action scenes in this show.
Okay.
So every time that it seems like there will be action of some description, like there'll be a fight, or, you know, a car chase or whatever, replace it with a dance sequence. And that's how we go.
Yeah.
And so I've got all of our characters, all of our main cast. I've also got the first episode written down. And after that, you and I can throw a couple ideas at the wall, see what sticks. right? So our main character, Disco Volante, a fanatical believer in the power of dance, who uses his unending optimism to wake the people across the Loxan solar system and make them question the puritanical and anti-art philosophy of their robotic overlords. All right, so that's Disco Volante. He's a cool, freewheeling dude who loves dancing and art and expression.
Does he have a hat?
And he's traveling across the galaxy. Yeah, we can give him a hat. What's a
needs
cool
a hat.
dancing hat? We could give him
He's a big hat.
like a Michael Jackson style fedora, or a big hat, like a big wide brimmed hat that's really wide. I like that. That would be fun. Cool glasses, cool fringe vest, boot cut jeans.
He feels very cowboy to me. I don't know if you've got that in your idea.
I kind of think disco cowboy. That's sort of his vibe. Is a disco cowboy.
I don't know if you have this,
And
but I'm
then
imagining like little rocket boosters on his boots, so that like when he's dancing, you can also fly a little bit while he's dancing.
That would be cool. So we could do a moonwalk through the air and stuff, and he could like do maybe if he like does that like where they spin on their heads when they're whatever it's called where you're dancing outside, break dancing. If he spins on his head, he can like do the splits and make his rocket boosters make him go really, really fast. Yeah. I like the rocket boosters on like his raised 70s style like boots, Our second character is Theo Funk, a jazz /funk robot who has collected the works of history's greatest artists to make the perfect song choice for any given scenario, right? So this is kind of like a skinny little robotic guy. Think of a beatbox with arms and legs and a head, right? And he basically serves as Disco's hype man, his aux cord, right? He's the beatbox. He always picks a song to dance to that's perfectly suited to whatever situation that they're in at the given moment, And it's always like fun, optimistic dancing songs. I don't want any like, we're gonna dance to, the House of the Rising Sun or something. We're gonna dance to Louie Louie. We're dancing to something fun. I wrote this pitch while listening to Spotify's like classic dance mix, so that's the kind of like vibe I'm looking for,
Yeah.
That's the energy I'm looking to infuse into Disco Volante. Our next character, who we won't meet in the pilot, but will become important, is Professor Myrtle Gladway, a woman in her 180s who has dedicated herself. It's Gladway. I just, I couldn't read my own handwriting because I write badly. I'm not unsure about any of this. Neither is Myrtle, who has dedicated her life to the study of dance and who loves to tap dance. And so she's kind of like this little, short, diminutive woman who's got like big, long gray hair, and she's like very buttoned up, very professional. But during the dance sequences, she is like pulling off the coolest tap dancing you've ever seen. And she also does other dances. I'm imagining her doing a lot of Irish jigging, right? That sort of thing, right? She's got a lot of movement, but she doesn't do a lot of the heavy arm movements and the head movements and stuff like that. She's just all about the feet. She's all about moving her feet and loving to dance. Okay. And she studied throughout all the history of dance. And so she can like identify, what moves Disco is pulling, right? If anyone asks. And she's like the historian of the group. And our last character of our central cast is Bronk. Bronk is a reprogrammed murderatron who now preaches the benefits of pacifism and free love. And so he's like a gigantic robot. Like he's the size of 2 fridges stacked on top of each other. And he's as wide as 2 fridges stacked next to each other. And he is created by this evil fascistic robotic government to serve as like a lawkeeper, peacekeeper of like given towns, and that he's good. We're gonna meet him in our first episode. And he's big and he's scary and imposing, and he's got like machine guns on every arm and all this stuff, and he's, crazy, scary robot person, but he is like the softest, most soft-spoken, kindest person in the cast. And he's all about free love and like we shouldn't hurt anyone. Surely we could just talk this out. Like, come on, man, it's all good. He's that sort of dude. He's a little bit of an annoying hippie, and he's, a little bit more boxy. in his dance moves. He's a little bit more doing the robot, right? Yeah. I would say Disco is very fluid. Theo Funk is a little bit like, he's a little bit more tentative. He's a little bit scared of the limelight of people watching him dance, but when he gets going, he's a really incredible break dancer. You get Myrtle, who's a beautiful tap dancer, and she does an Irish jig like nobody's business. And then you get Bronk, who's not a classically trained dancer. He just enjoys the act of it, right? And all our characters represent different levels
like you.
of dance, like being associated with dance, that sort of thing. And so that's our forecast. Those are our 4 main characters, and they travel across the galaxy on their ship Disco 1, which they use to explore all these various towns and comets and and planets and stuff. And they find, generally speaking, how it goes is our cast will arrive. They'll discover this town that is suffering from some given problem. They will attempt to solve the problem. The problem will fight back. There will be a awesome dance sequence. And then once they finish the dance sequence, our main cast will have succeeded in solving the problem. And then they will, go away. They'll have successfully solved the problem. They will celebrate. They'll be happy. They'll cheer. It'll be great. It'll be fun. And then they'll leave and do it all over again. And that's kind of be the structure of each episode. It's not really a show that's building up to a big climactic final showdown, but there will be a few reoccurring villains that will show up throughout the show to give our main characters some grief. And so I'll tell you about them, our villains. Our first villain and Disco Volante's arch enemy will be Shuffletron, who is a cyber dancer created to defeat Disco Volante in a dance-off, but always fails due to his lack of allies. Right? He is always alone. And he considers himself to be the greatest dancer alive, and there's no way Disco Volante would ever be able to defeat him in a dance-off. But Disco always has his friends, and he's always got the support of the people, to make him better and make him more powerful of a dancer. And so Shuffletron will always lose because he's always alone, And maybe we'll have a few episodes where it's like, oh, Shuffletron cloned himself 8 times, and so now he's got a big posse of people to dance with him. And Disco will be like, haha, but you're all dancing exactly the same way. Me, the good thing about me and my friends is we've all got our different things that we use, that we dance with. Like, I dance with passion. Theo dances with technique. Myrtle dances with history, and Bronk dances with joy. And all of your robotic buddies just dance in the same monotonous way. That sort of thing. So he's our chief antagonist, our Team Rocket, if you will.
Yeah.
Our secondary antagonist, sort of the emperor to Shuffletron's Darth Vader, is Chief Director Tosh, because I wanted it to kind of be 2 really scary names. Like Chief Director, ooh, this guy's going to be very intimidating and very, scary and powerful. And then the lamest name I could think of. Tosh. He is the evil head of the robotics company that has taken over the Loxin solar system. That's Loxin solar system. And then another creature, a creature that will give our main cast some grief at various points throughout the show, will be the Vibra Beast, which is a massive creature that lives in deep space, and it is attracted to sound, music, and noise. And so it will occasionally show up as Disco 1 travels across the solar system, right? Attracted to the unending music that will always be radiating from Disco 1, because they're always dancing, they're always partying, they're always having a good time. And it'll cause problems, and maybe it'll take a bite out of the engine, and so Disco 1 has to land. Something like that. And I think that storyline, the Vibra Beast, can end with Theo Funk, the robot, falling in love with it, and then they both live off happily ever after, like Donkey and the Dragon in Shrek. I think that could be a fun ending for the Vibra Beast. But I'll start you off with episode 1, the pilot, and then we can get into further episodes.
Okay.
A mysterious stranger clad in garish and sparkling regalia marches into the small town. The dreary townsfolk look on in awe at the stranger and his diminutive robotic sidekick as they stroll casually down the main street. The town is reminiscent of the late 20th century Middle America, with dozens of interchangeable citizens staring, mouth agape at the oddities in front of them. The two walk into a pub, and the man puts his elbows on the bar as his companion gets a seat. 2 splashes of cola, my friend, cries Disco Volante to the bartender. The bartender pours the 2 glasses and slides them over to him with a wary glare. Disco Volante begins to speak to the people, telling them about himself and the power of dance, how it saved him from a life of monotonous labor as they currently find themselves, and that the only way to free themselves from this horrible life that they've found themselves living is through the power of dance. I said themselves about 3 times in that one sentence. I regret that, and I'm sorry. I didn't write that part down. That was from the dome, right? And as he's like getting more and more excited about it, he throws back the cola. This is a kid's show, so he can't drink whiskey, but I do want him to throw the cola back like it's whiskey, because I think that's funny if he's a disco cowboy from space. And he's like getting more and more animated, maybe gets on the bar and he starts shouting about this, and he's like, we need to start dancing, you need to feel alive, you need to feel the music. And he points to Theo Funk, and Theo Funk, right, happily turns the knob on his chest on and starts playing this beautiful song, right, this beautiful dance song, and Disco Volante starts kicking his feet and having a great time dancing on the bar when suddenly somebody turns Theo Funk's volume all the way down and pulls Disco onto the floor, right? And everybody looks at him and they tell him to shut the fuck up, stop talking. They don't say fuck because, again, it's a kid's show, but stop talking, you need to shut up. We don't do that here. Just drink your cola and then get the hell out, right? And Disco's kind of like disheartened and like unhappy about it. It's like, what was that about? That was weird, and I didn't like that. Why does everyone hate dancing here? And then this little kid comes up to him and he pulls on the tassels on his vest. And Disco like leans forward and he pulls his glasses down. That's when you see he's got disco balls for eyes. And he looks at the kid, he's like, what's up? Oh. And the kid like explains to him like, hey, the sheriff doesn't take too kindly to that kind of talk. And Disco's like, the sheriff? And he's like, yes, the sheriff doesn't like it when people dance. He doesn't like it when people, play music that loud. Like, you need to stop it. You need to stop displaying yourself like that. And then Disco like is who is this sheriff? And the little kid points outside and he sees this gigantic robot that's 2 refrigerators tall and 2 refrigerators wide. He's this enormous machine with machine guns coming out of every orifice, and he's just got this giant red light coming, like instead of a face, he has just one gigantic red light eye that he looks through the windows, and he looks at Disco Volante, and Volante looks at him, and then he, fixes his vest, throws back another shot of cola, and walks out to meet him, right? Mm-hmm. Disco extends his hand and introduces himself. He's magnanimous, he's interesting, right? Hi, my name is Disco Volante, it's nice to meet you. I am the greatest dancer in the universe, and I have come here to this small, beautiful town to teach these folks to dance! And I also, every time Disco Volante says his name, I want there to be a little musical sting.
Ta-da!
Like a little jazzy musical sting. Like maybe a trumpet or whatever. I'm not a musician. Maybe something funky. Just something, disco. I want him to introduce himself and that plays, right? My name is Disco Volante. And I am the universe's greatest dancer. And I have come to this small town to teach these people about the beauty of dance. He's got an accent. Of course he has an accent. His name is Disco Volante.
That's actually your normal voice, Charlie, I thought.
Yeah, actually, I've been doing a voice on for this entire show. The last 5 years or whatever it is, however long we've been doing this. And so the robot is silent for a second, and Disco Volante begins to repeat himself. He starts the whole, like, sentence again, and then the robot, like, his eyes blare, like, this harsh red light on both him and Theo, and they both kind of go, like, what's that? And the robot, like, says something like, overwhelming joy detected. This cannot be tolerated. And then they get, handcuffs clamped on them and thrown into the town jail, right? And so Disco is kind of like, what the hell? And Theo is, he's kind of the pessimist of the group. If Disco is the unending optimist who always believes that things will get better, then Theo kind of has to be a little bit more of a cynical pessimist kind of guy and be like, well, look what you got us into this time, Disco. This reminds me of the last time we were on Saturn and you had to teach the mayor's daughter how to tango, that sort of thing. Like, they've been doing this for a while. And so they're in the jailhouse and they're, kind of bored and unhappy. And then, the rest of the day goes on. We have like a nice cut to night. We see Disco and he's practicing his moves in the cell as Theo is trying to get some sleep when the little kid, from earlier in the bar comes up and, like, unlocks the door. And Disco is like, oh my God, thank you so much, little boy, for letting us out. This you have done a great service to Disco Volante. And then we get the because that's funny. And the little kid is like, don't worry, like, I believe in you. I know that what you're doing is right. Also, I'm not a little boy. I'm 45 years old. I just look like this. People, stop calling me a little boy. And Disco is kind of like, I'm sorry. Disco Volante doesn't like to judge people based off of how they look. I'm very sorry for that. Thanks for letting us out of jail, though. And they start to leave the thing. They leave the jailhouse and they start to walk back the way they came. And at first, Theo and Disco are in agreement. Like, we have to get out of here. We have to escape. We can't allow we can't like allow ourselves to be caught again by that Murdertron, or else, like, we'll be fucked. He'll kill us. He's got murder in his name. We're not going back. And at first Disco's all about it, and then he says, no, I cannot. Disco Volante cannot allow these people to live their lives in such mundanity. I must challenge him to a dance-off.
Oh.
And Theo is kind of like, what? And he's like, I cannot allow these people to live like this. I must flee them, or else I am no better than that robot. Disco Volante is not a robot. I mean, not that there's anything wrong with being like, and then he, backtracks because he realizes Theo's a robot, but he's like, yeah, okay. Theo, after a little bit of pushing, agrees with him. He's like, fine, we'll wait. And then we do high noon. We do, it's a duel between Disco and the Murdertron, right? And, Disco makes this announcement. He screams out to the town, I will not, I'm challenging the Murdertron to I'm not the accent, it feels a little racist. I'm not gonna do I'm challenging this robot to a competition, to a duel, right? And so, we get a classic, Sergio Leone, spaghetti western duel setup, right? On one end, we see this gigantic robot, and at the other hand, on the other side, we see Disco Volante, right? And we hear the, ticking of the clock, and they're all, Disco's sweating. He's got his hands by his side. Theo Funk is hiding, trying to look up, but also ducking his head down, trying to avoid getting shot by this robot. The Murdertron is just scanning him very, dangerously, And then the clock hits 12. There's a chime from the bell tower, right? And the Murdertron just opens fire and shoots 1,000,000 bullets at Disco Volante. Just two miniguns firing at the same time for a minute straight. And we just see this cloud of dust. And then we see, as the dust clears, Disco Volante danced through all of the bullets.
Oh,
he didn't get hit once. He danced through all of it, just doing an awesome dance. And then he looks up to the robot. it is Disco Volante's turn. And then he does an awesome dance. We get some song, I don't know what song off the top of my head, but we get some great dance song, and Disco Volante dances to the entire thing, and he does this awesome dance moves, tons of movement. It's super fun, and he dances, he gets closer to the robot, he backs up, he dances behind the robot like he's doing all this great dancing, and then he finishes, and he's like, and the robot looks at him, right, raises its guns again, and then the side of its head sparks, it kind of, and then falls back, right? Disco Volante has won. He has defeated the Murdertron and saved the town from a life of no dance, no music, and no art, right? And the town celebrates, and they put Disco on their shoulders, and they cheer, and they cheer, and they cheer, and they all go to the bar, and they're gonna have a drink, and then we see Theo go up to the robot, and he starts to fiddle with the robot's settings, right? And the next morning, Disco wakes up, and his head's kind of hurt, like it's a kid's show. We can't say he's hungover, but he's hungover, and he's like, "Oh, that was a good night." And he gets he yells out to Theo, like, "Theo, let's go. We have more towns to liberate. Disco Volante does not wait for anyone." And Theo walks up, and he is, followed by this enormous robot. And at first, Disco like puts his hands up like karate moves, like he's like, "Whoa, what's going on?" And Theo explains he reprogrammed the robot, and the robot extends his hand, and he says, "Hello, my name is Bronk. Can I come with you?" And Disco says, "Yeah, sure." Like, he doesn't say it like that. He says it more animated because he's Disco Volante. But he's like, if you believe in peace, love, and the power of dance, you are a good friend of mine. Come with me, Bronk. Let's find you a room on Disco 1. And then the final shot of the pilot is Disco 1 flying up into the air with Disco, Theo, and Bronk all in the like cabin, right? As they fly off to more adventures. And that's the pilot episode 1 of Disco Volante. Yeah.
Hell yeah.
So
I like
that's the pilot. It's fun. Yeah.
I like Disco Volante. He's a very fun character. I was a little skeptical at first, but now that I've heard the pilot, I'm sold. Sold on the Volante verse.
He sold you. His unending optimism, I think, it sells people. And yeah, he's a little bit of a showboat. He's kind of self-obsessed, but he's also a caring and endearing character, And that's what we're gonna do, and that's gonna kind of be the structure of every episode of the show, And there'll be like B plots, so we'll have Disco and some other character doing the A plot, and then we'll have our other two cast members doing the B plot, that sort of thing. But that'll be the structure: is they go somewhere, they deal with a problem, they get faced with a problem, they fail to defeat it, and then Disco does a cool dance, and that's how they win. Yeah. And so I think the next episode, or maybe we would do a few more episodes of them, just the trio, and then we would go to a archaeological dig, right, of a planet, and that's where they would find Professor Myrtle Galway, and that way, we can pick up our cast of characters. But yeah. That's the show.
Okay, I've got
that's
an
all I
idea
have
for the episode where you meet Myrtle Galway, unless you have an idea for that.
Yeah. No, I don't have an idea.
Okay. So, because her whole thing is like old, she's got all the histories of all the different dance styles. Let's say on that planet where they meet her, they also come across this amazing copycat dance robot that, like, everything that Disco Volante does, this thing does exactly the same. So it's like this, he tries to dance off against this robot that's and it just copies what he's doing. So but like almost like slightly better. So then he's trying something different, and then it does the same thing. He's like, it's like his whole mojo is being taken by this robot, and so. And then the solution to beating this robot is that he meets Myrtle, and Myrtle like teaches him all these different dance styles from all these different cultures and generations and stuff. And so when they has this big, final showdown with the copycat bot, he just keeps switching the style over and over and over again. And the switching of styles and the robot's brain going between all these different types of dancing ends up overloading it and exploding it because its memory can't handle all these different types of dancing styles and all the quick changes and everything. And how the dynamics, connection between each one. Because he's not just he's doing one dance and switching into the next one. It's there's a fluid change into it, so it all kind of melds together. And the robot can't keep up with the creativity and the dynamism.
I like that. Showing the kind of fundamental thesis of the show is that robots will never replace human beings, in terms of artistic creation. That's why Theo Funk, the robot, he doesn't make music. He curates music from all of the great characters of history, Mm-hmm. And that's also why he's named after one of the great jazz musicians, Thelonious Monk.
Oh.
Yeah, I got layers. But yeah, I dig it. I think that's fun. And then, Myrtle is so taken aback by Disco's incredible understanding and grasps of all these, different genres of dance that she's like, I have to, travel with you. I have to study you, because you will be in the history books as one of the greatest dancers in all history. And Disco Volante is the greatest dancer in the universe. That's his thing. So I like it. I dig it. I think that this show has legs in terms of I think a regular show kind of thing. It's just characters being silly and having fun,
Yeah, I like it a lot. It's a fun show.
Yeah, and it's for kids, which I don't think I've done before.
Yeah, I've done a lot of kids shows. I can't. I'm struggling to think of you having a kids show before this.
Human Meat.
Yeah, I don't know about that one. Not sure that was a kids show. Maybe some of your Marvel stuff or not Marvel, superhero stuff could have been a kids show, but necessarily DC in Space. Maybe I don't remember what happened in DC in Space, but I remember it was superhero, so it could be a kids show. But then some of your superhero shows have been quite violent, or vulgar. So I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. Who knows?
Superman and Lobo could have been a kids show, I think.
Yeah, it could have been.
Remember correctly.
All right. Well, thank you everyone for listening to the Very Reasonable Pilots podcast. I've been your host, Charles. Along with me has always been my co-host, producer, co-pilot, gunner, navigator, orator, and podcasting associate, Jacob Gloth. If you like what you heard here and you want to hear more, please give us a like, a follow, subscribe, tell your friends, tell your family, tell your dog, tell your cat. Remember, we will be here next week with a brand new television series for you to imagine and enjoy, and it will be titled... Are you ready to hear the title, Jake? Are you ready?
I am. I definitely don't know it already.
Nope, he has no idea, folks. It'll be titled Theater Macabre. Or Theatre Macabre.
I'm excited. I've already started writing it. It's, I don't know if you knew this, Charlie, when you gave me this title, but there is a show called this. I looked it up.
I didn't know that.
I was, I don't know, I'll tell you now because I'm not going to do what I thought I was really going to do. So there is a show called this. It is a TV show that was hosted by Christopher Lee, and it was a very low-budget horror show. So basically, it would open up with, Christopher Lee in this, cozy chair by a fire, and he'd say, there's a story of this, man, blah, 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 and it's a horror movie, and then it would go into the thing, and it was, the story of Dracula or something like that. And I started watching it. It's not good. It's bad. So I was going to do a season 2 of it, because it only is a one-season show, and that would be my Theater Macabre, because I thought that would be funny to do a season 2 of this show that no one's ever heard of, but it's bad, so I'm just not gonna do that. It's just no.
Fair enough. Yeah,
the only good part of that show is Christopher Lee right at the beginning with his big old mustache, giving a short little intro to it, but then it's just this not very good horror show.
Yeah, I just thought it sounded cool. I just thought Theater Macabre was a cool show idea, name, whatever. Thank you, everyone, and have a good night.